Oh, Lord. Lord, not Kandi and Todd. Lord! What's up, Roxstars? Y'all know why I'm here today, child. I had to close the door because I know my neighbors is like, who's that screaming? Y'all saw the news yesterday. Listen. I don't be on Instagram like that. Like, I pop on, I look at the stories, and, every now and then I'll scroll my regular timeline, but I don't be on Instagram like that, because it just be too much shit sometimes. I got other things to do. So as usual, I had a whole bunch of DMs, but you guys send me DMs all the time. I wish one day I'm just going to scroll and let you guys see like all of the little blue dots of all of the messages I get. So yesterday was no different than any other day. So I didn't really pay attention to them. So I went onto my regular timeline last night, and the very first post that I saw said that Kandi and Todd was breaking up. I was like, what? After 11 years, y'all. I said, they didn't make it to 14. I bet you the shit been fucked up since the 7th year. They probably been trying to get that shit back on track since then. But okay, let me be serious, you guys. I was really heartbroken to see that. I did not see this coming. I really honestly didn't. Now, after the initial shock, and after me going through like all the comments and like looking at other posts of people and what the blogs were saying, what the commenters were saying, sometimes you find out a lot of information in the comment section. Okay, every now and then you get one of them people that know a little bit more than the other person get in there and get to talking. So, I like to peruse the comment section as well. But I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I did not see this coming. Is it really surprising? Well, after I sat back and thought about all of the shit that Todd and Kandi have probably been through, what we saw on Real Housewives of Atlanta, what we haven't seen, things that we've heard around town, things that we've heard on the blogs, things that I started to say, yeah, maybe this was, one that was coming. Now, let's back up. We know that Todd and Kandi, they met back in 2011. Todd was a production assistant, I believe, and Kandi, of course, was talent on the show. They met when they were on a trip. I believe it was in Africa. I don't know, remember what part of Africa they were in. You guys, hey, Africa is a continent, Roxanne. Anyway, they kept their relationship kind of on the DL for a little while, and then they finally decided to make it known. Todd ended up quitting his job so that he could pursue this relationship openly with Kandi, because I guess them two had fallen in love and they were going to make a go of it. And so they got engaged in 2013. They got married in 2014. And ever since then, these two have been a couple that has been building what I thought the Burress Tucker legacy. Now, we know that Kandi was already a big star in her own right before she even came to Real Housewives of Atlanta. We know that she was from Escape. We know that she was a very well-known producer and writer. She wrote for a lot of big names, and so Kandi was already well known before she came on to Real Housewives of Atlanta. Although we will never deny that Real Housewives of Atlanta was a perfect business decision for Kandi, for her to blow up her entire platform and how many businesses were spawned out of her, going to Real Housewives of Atlanta, her connection with Bravo. Kandi has built a life where she is considered a very big power player out here in Atlanta. Like, Kandi is the one, right? And for her and Todd to link up, and I do genuinely believe that Kandi was in love with Todd. I mean, for her to go through all the things that she went through, for their marriage to make it, we remember his mother being on the show and how much drama there was with, the old lady gang, Bertha, Honora, and Mama Joyce. Child, Mama Joyce is a whole nother video, okay? But we know that it was not easy for them to get together. And despite all the odds that were against them, remember the whole show building up to the marriage, and the talk about the prenup, and Mama Joyce blaming Kandi for, trying to say that Todd was messing around with Carmen, Calma, just all the things that happened before they even got married. When they finally did solidify and, double down on their love, I was just like, okay, good. Now, I know it can't be easy for a man like Todd to be married to a woman like Kandi. Okay? Again, Kandi has the shit going on. By the time he came on to Real Housewives of Atlanta, Kandi was already, she was already not necessarily a Real Housewives of Atlanta favorite, but the people loved Kandi. And so him stepping in with Kandi, that probably was a lot for his ego to have to deal with, especially with Mama Joyce bringing to light all the times, her daughter being a boss, her daughter having all this money, her daughter, and how he couldn't afford to do this for her. He couldn't afford, Mama Joyce always felt like Todd was beneath and below Kandi. So I'm sure it was hard. But they continued to grow. And Kandi put all of her life on the shows on Bravo. So, we had the ski trip, we had the wedding, we had Old Lady Gang, or Kandi, what was it called? Kandi and the Gang? Yeah, Kandi and the Gang. Of course, she being on Real Housewives of Atlanta, Kandi showed a lot of their lives. And when we were watching the show, the latter years of that Kandi was on the show, we saw that there was trouble in paradise. Okay, but these are kind of like the things that happen in marriages. So I didn't think that it was that serious. But we remember when Kandi would tell us that she was struggling with motherhood, trying to be this boss businesswoman, but also realizing that she has children at home that she needs to be there for, and trying to straddle that line or figure out, what's going to work best for her family. We knew that Todd was always being shown as daddy daycare, always having the kids. You guys know they have 2 kids together, Ace and Blaze. Ace is 9. Blaze should be 5-ish, 4 or 5. Kandi had Riley from, before they got together. And then Todd had his daughter. Why I can't never remember. Kayla? Is it Kayla? Child, I'm sorry. I should have put her name in here. But anyway, Todd had his daughter from a previous relationship too. But, Kandi always tried to make the family be one big unit. So he would have his daughter, and, she treated her as her daughter as well. But anyway, and he tried to treat Riley as his daughter, I think. I think Riley, she never spoke down on Todd, but I don't know. I never felt like Riley and Todd really had that connection like that. But anyway, I could be wrong. But anyway, Kandi would complain that it was hard for her trying to do business and also trying to be this mother. We remember Todd complaining that she was always gone. She was filming The Shy at the time, and that was hard for her. I started thinking about all the things like we would see when Kandi would travel. Then Kandi would always be rushing back home. Some of that feels like she was rushing home to try to make sure that, Todd was appeased because of, she already knew that she had been gone a lot. And then we also saw that they were not having sex as much as they used to. And that was a shock to all of us, considering, we all know Kandi is this big freak. Bedroom Kandi, one of her business ventures and all that. They've talked about bringing other people into their relationship to spice things up. And some people will say that bringing another person into your relationship that's already having these issues, I don't know if that's always a good thing. People like what they like and all, but threesomes definitely bring a whole lot of extra issues into a marriage. Especially if they continue, if it's not just a one-time thing or something, unless everybody is really strong and there's really some guidelines in place and, all that. Maybe you need to refrain from the threesomes. But, and there were other things that we started to see. Todd just felt like he wasn't happy. He had said that on the show. I guess maybe I just looked at it also as them trying to give good TV and all. And, I was like, well, they seem to be making it okay. So again, I just wrote it off as regular marital woes. After you've been together with somebody any length of time, you know, and you are trying to be a business person. When Kandi left the show, it was interesting. I thought that maybe she was leaving because she now had found her footing in Broadway as a producer, and that was something that she wanted to focus on, which I think is part of the reason. But also, Kandi was too busy for Real Housewives of Atlanta. Remember, she was barely on that last season. And she just was too disconnected, and it wasn't working. Of course, Kandi could always go back to Real Housewives of Atlanta, even though she ain't gonna be no housewife no more. I mean, she never was, but you know, she could definitely go back to the show. But I think it was starting to be way too much, and she needed to make some decisions on what she needed to do. Okay. And probably also thinking about the issues that was still probably brewing at the house, because she was extra busy that last season. You know, maybe she felt like she needed to be home a little bit more, or maybe she didn't need the cameras in their house so they can try to work on their relationship. And, you know, we've been seeing as she left the show, she's been, you know, they for sure were producing out there in Broadway. I mean, we remember all the plays that she's had her hand in. You know, she had signed on with a team, and they have been producing all these different plays, Othello, The Wiz. What was the other one? There was one more I can't think of, but you know, they had their plays and all. So I just really thought that now that she was away from the camera, Real Housewives of Atlanta being in her house, you know, she was focusing more on that business. And I just thought her and Todd was just gonna, like, it was up from there. We've been seeing on Instagram, on social media, you know, when they go on vacation every year, you know, she makes sure that she has a family vacation with them once or twice a year. They go on vacation themselves together by themselves, you know, and all of that. So I just thought, okay, she's moved on, and, you know, this is just the next chapter in her and Todd's life. But apparently, people have been noticing that it was starting to look like there was a writing on the wall that these two weren't making it. Now, y'all be on these people's social media so tough that you guys will see or notice when somebody has removed something off of their social media. So people started noticing that she had removed Tucker from her bio on Instagram. That usually is the telltale sign. When you get to removing names and shit, that usually lets you know that it was over. But it was done quietly, and it still hadn't hit the main blogs, but apparently it's been being talked about, you know, out there in them streets. And so there was that. And then at BravoCon, they said that, I didn't even watch BravoCon. You guys, I don't have no interest. I don't really watch anything on Bravo other than Real Housewives of Atlanta and Real Housewives of Potomac. And you guys already know how I feel about that goddamn Potomac. And Real Housewives of Atlanta, you know, I feel like eventually those shows have run their course. I know the talk is all that Nene is coming back, and I'm just like, child, I do not care. Anyway, BravoCon happened, and we know that Kandi received the Lifetime Achievement Award. All right. BravoCon just started this new award ceremony. You know, they gave awards kind of like how MTV does, well, and Nickelodeon does, you know, for all these different little cult classic things that happened on different Bravo shows, right? So they give awards for that. Anyway, when she received her Lifetime Achievement Award, people noticed that she did not have her wedding ring on. Okay. People also noticed that Todd was not there, which was a big clue, because we know that Todd usually is always there to support Kandi. You know, she would have brought him up there on the stage. I mean, she's accepting a Lifetime Award, you know, why wouldn't you bring your husband up there as well? Especially that Todd, you know, was a big part of the show, but she was up there by herself. She didn't have her ring on, and some people noticed, a lot of people noticed that as well. And I will also probably say that there was probably some chatter at BravoCon. Like, this all came, I think this announcement has come because she knew that the chatter had happened starting with BravoCon, that it was getting too big, and eventually it was going to get out there before she could say anything about it. So I think BravoCon is what forced all this to go. But yeah, she did thank Todd. I'm gonna read to you guys what she said. To Todd, thank you for surviving the blogs, the shade, the rumors, the lies, the truth, the almost fights, the actual fights, the reunion. You earned this award too. Kandi is always, Kandi's a Taurus. All right. Taurus is an earth sign. Tauruses are usually very fair people. I think Kandi realizes that her and Todd did build something, even though they're not together anymore. You know, I thought it was cool that she did, you know, thank him for that. And I mean, she had to do it anyway, because if she didn't mention Todd, that really was going to be a big clue, you know? So she did that, but I thought that was cool for her to say that, especially in light of the news that we got, you know, a few days or a few weeks out, a couple of weeks out, I mean, a week or so after. But people noticed that he was absent, so that was a red flag. Again, the chatter probably was going around BravoCon, and so here we are yesterday when they finally released an exclusive statement to, well, Kandi released an exclusive statement to people.com. And she said, after deep thought and a lot of prayer, I've made the decision to move forward with a divorce. This is a difficult and emotional time, but my focus remains on protecting my peace, being the best mother I can be, and co-parenting with love and respect. And so, of course, they're asking everybody to give them their privacy while they deal with this whole thing. Yeah, you guys, it is a wrap on that. 11 fucking years down. Well, now I won't say down the drain. They had beautiful children together. I mean, let me tell you about the businesses that they had. Okay, of course, they had the restaurants, the OLG. She had one on Camp Creek. She had the original one on Peter Street. I think they had like a little station in the airport, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I kind of feel like I remember that they had that. Okay. As of now, I think all of the OLG businesses are closed, with the exception of Camp Creek. Sometimes I'll still see people up at the Camp Creek location. So I kind of feel like sometimes it's open. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but the OLG business largely, if I won't say failed, eventually they all closed. She also had Blaze, which was the steakhouse that they opened, but that one was having issues with, you know, the Board of Health would come and shut them down because it wasn't clean and different things. And then remember, I think there was somebody got shot at Blaze or some child. Anyway, Blaze ended, don't quote me on that. But yeah, the nephew got shot, right? But it wasn't at Blaze. Maybe it was at OLG. But anyway, this tea is good. Y'all know I'm drinking green tea now. I'm healthy. Then they have a trucking company together. They have real estate ventures. You know, they bought property. I actually heard that Kandi and Todd was building a house together, like currently. So there's that. Then we know they have their production, you know, them two as a production team, a unit, with the Broadway shows. And then we know that Kandi has always supported Todd in his TV and film ventures, even though those TV and film ventures are bullshit. They are horrible. But, you know, Kandi was trying to be supportive of her man, even was in one of his damn movies. What was that shit? With Drew and all that shit. A hot-ass fucking mess. Anyway, so, you know, they've had that. But outside of that, Kandi has also had Bedroom Kandi. She's had the Tags Boutique. I don't know if she has the brick and mortar, but I believe that they are still online. She has a makeup line, called Kandi Coated. She has a clothing, well, Ace has a clothing line, but you know, ultimately that's Kandi's as well. Maybe Kandi and Todd, I'll go on and say that. But she has her nonprofit, Kandi Cares. She is a music producer and a writer in her own right. Of course, like I said, she was in Escape. Like, Kandi got a whole, but Kandi is a big deal here in Atlanta. Maybe even more than she will admit. Like, she is very humble, but when you look at Kandi's, all of her accomplishments and everything, Kandi got it going on. So Kandi gonna be fine, okay? And Todd gonna be fine too, because you guys tell me in these comments that the prenup, which was a big deal on the, you know, when the wedding show came on. Remember, the wedding didn't even almost happen, almost up to the fucking day, because Todd didn't want to sign it, you know, because he felt like it was not fair. But anyway, they hammered out this prenup. But now you guys tell me that the prenup was only for 10 years? Child, and did you hear me say that they had been married for 11 fucking years? I was like, Kandi, how'd you do that, girl? You didn't think to go on and get this. You didn't see the writing on the wall. So it kind of makes me feel like whatever happened happened very recently, because I just told you they were building a house together, you know, and they've been building this business. And I mean, just recently we knew that they were a production team for a new Broadway play. So it was just like, what happened just now that the shit fell apart? Some people are saying maybe, child, did I bring my fan? Child, I didn't bring my fan. It's hot. Some people are saying maybe there was some infidelity. And I'm just like, I mean, Kandi and Todd seem to already have like a relationship that was semi-open. Like, you know, they would bring people in and all that. So I don't know. Child, look at this fan, bitch. It's hot. But yeah, I was saying, it seemed like they kind of already, I don't know if infidelity, unless they stepped out of the parameters that they have for their threesomes or these other people that they bring into their relationship. Child, would it be a baby? Because what else? You already knew that they was having sex with other people. So it was just like, is it a baby? You know, is it another woman? Like, did he fall for somebody? Or did Todd just finally just say, like, I can't do this no more? You know, the pressure of trying to be that husband there for him. Maybe he wasn't happy. Maybe, you know, the fact that Kandi was still going and building and building and building and have to be the brunt of the joke all the time. You know, everybody saying that Todd don't deserve to be there. You know, he don't have it like Kandi does and all that. I guess him just being there as that husband, but never quite being looked at and respected as an equal for Kandi. Maybe that just been too much for the man. And maybe he was just like, I can't do this no more. And maybe Kandi just saw that he just was very unhappy. And it ain't no sense in people just trying to continue to be together if you guys are not happy. Maybe she wasn't happy either. Maybe she realized that she wants to continue to pursue her dreams. Because you guys, Kandi is a hard fucking worker. Okay, she will tell you in a minute that she don't even feel comfortable when she's sitting still. She always thinking of the next thing that she can do, you know. And sometimes when you have young kids and you got a spouse and, you know, you have other obligations, you know, sometimes that just don't pan well for the marriage and the relationship. Okay, so I don't know. I'm just weighing in on what I think might have happened, because I can't really tell you what happened. You know, I don't know. But like I said, a lot of people were saying that they not surprised. They saw it coming and everything. I did not see it coming. But I know also that Todd has to deal with Kandi's family. You know, her mother, who she loves dearly, and she should. Okay, even though Mama Joyce can be a whole bunch. And for Todd to have to deal with it, I mean, even recently, she said that Todd and her mother still don't get along. So that also weighs a lot on a relationship. You know, you have to deal with maybe the slick comments or the, you know, the looks and the whispers and all of that, even from within your own family, your own mother-in-law. Like, you know, that might have been too much for him to take. Kandi also is a very strong personality. Even with her being a Taurus, you know, she's a hard worker and all that. It might have just been way too much shit on the top that just weighed this relationship down, which is really, really sad, you guys. Because I wanted it to work. I got my moo-moo on, y'all. I wanted it to work, you know, for these two. And I really thought that it was. But after I started to think about, like, everything, I was like, yeah, maybe it just wasn't going to work. Now, what's going to be interesting is what happened with these kids, child. Because Todd always has the kids. See, I don't follow Todd. So I don't know. But you guys are always telling me, no, Roxanne, Todd always got the kids. You know, it's daddy daycare. I knew it was like a hashtag daddy daycare and all that. But that probably meant more than at least what I realized, you know. So now it's just like, what's going to happen with these kids? If Kandi is still working extremely hard, you know, I'm sure Todd might fight for those kids, okay? Might want those kids. And then, child, if the prenup is expired and shit, you know, we talk about child support and spousal support and, ooh, a lot. So I'm hoping that that's the rumor. But, child, that's what y'all saying. So, yeah, y'all, that's it. Y'all done got me out here on my Saturday. Look, I realized that I was supposed to do, every week I forget about Tommy's show. The show is so fucking bad. I'm going to do the review, but it ain't going to be up till tomorrow, y'all. Because I'm going shopping today. I'm going to go find me some shit to wear for Friendsgiving that my friend Simone is having next week. So I'm gonna get that up. But let me get back to what I was talking about, y'all. What y'all thought about all this? It's just sad. Child, it's so sad. It's so sad, you know. People are all just like, yeah, I knew it. And I don't like to be that way. I wanted to see this marriage work, but I guess it did not. There's no way that we can work it out if we don't pull together. Go down on my knees, begging you please. Some baby, something. What I need from you is understanding. How can we communicate if I can't hear what you say? Oh, what I need from you is understanding. So simple as 1, 2, 3. Understanding is what I need. I felt led to sing that. Anyway, y'all let me know what you think about this child. I'm telling you, I'm so sad about it. All right, you guys, that's it. Let me get on off of here, you guys. Make sure that you thumbs up the video, comment, subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox, the channel is itsrox, and everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, Roxstars. Goodbye.